Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. You met Susan Barron and Patty Peacock before the break, and we were talking about the basis of the Samaritan Counseling Center organization. And I want us to talk this segment about the mission. What is it all about? You made reference to spiritual based, combining mind, body, and spirit in this. And so talk about the mission, both of you.
Okay, well, we had talked about the broad part, and our center has actually been in existence for 37 years, and a group of visionaries here in West Texas put this center together, and those visionaries are still involved, many of them. And it's just amazing because that was back in 1974. And our mission is to provide faith-based, professional, faith-based counseling to promote healing and wholeness and complement the ministry of our religious community. And if you break that down, it really explains a lot about Samaritan Counseling Center. And the reason I stepped back and said professional is because, for example, part of our accreditation with Samaritan Institute is that all of our counselors are master's degree level or above. So that's professional. The faith-based element refers to the fact that the Samaritan program, our center has been involved with over 40 different denominations. It's not peculiar to one faith. It is Christian, but it's still not peculiar to any one faith. And
the other thing is the pastoral certification. A professional counselor has to have the.
Well, the other accreditation service, the other accreditation we do have is with the American Association of Pastoral Counselors.
Okay,
and so we're dually accredited. The Samaritan Institute accreditation comes up every 4 years, and in fact that's coming up fairly soon. But we want to complement the local churches. Whenever pastors feel the need for any kind of support or direction for themselves or for their congregations, and we also serve as a referral base for them. In other words, if a pastor feels like they've reached a stage where they may need to refer a parishioner or a church member, then we want to be available to do that. The faith-based part also is, I want to explain too that it's optional. Someone can come out, when someone comes out to Samaritan and fills out their intake information, they can choose whether or not they want the faith piece part to be part of their therapy. Some people, when they come in, they're not ready for that, or they may never want it, and that's fine. And that is communicated to the counselor so that the counselor knows
from the beginning,
this client does or does not, or is not interested in the faith-based element.
And one of the things that I think is really important to say at this point, because we're going to talk about accessing your services later, but your referrals can come from doctors, from churches, from even law enforcement areas.
Yes, absolutely.
So those are the kinds of things that I wanted us to be sure that we mention at some point. And so then, now we've gone through the accreditation, very high standards, and now talk a little bit about the kinds of people's problems that you take care of, because I know there's not drug counseling. Is that correct?
Well, that at the moment we do not have a LCDC licensed chemical dependency counselor, but people that do have drug issues still come to our center for all the related problems that are attendant to that kind of basic problem.
Yeah. But primarily it's children's counseling, marriage counseling, relationship counseling.
It's it's really, I can't think of anything that we don't counsel.
Okay.
You know, other than strict drug addiction rehab, we don't. We're not purely into that type of counseling. But marriage and family, anxiety, depression,
sexual orientation.
Oh yeah, sexual orientation, sexual addiction. There is coping with grief and loss. Caregivers, who, not people who are in the position of being caregivers. We have gambling, all kinds of addictions, gambling addictions, emotional behavioral problems, ADHD. Patty, I don't know. Can you think of?
Well, I know that one of the things that I have been so impressed over the years is we were one of the very early pioneers in play therapy for children, and that was a huge part of our children's.
Well, we've been very
help.
blessed to have our supporters provide us with a wonderful play therapy room. It is a whole and an observation room where the parents or other interested interns can sit and observe the play therapy going on, art therapy, and that is a special program. It is.
Well, Patty, I want you to talk a little bit about supporting this program because I know that it's a sliding rule kind of payment, and also insurance, and so the ability to pay is considered, insurance is considered, and all that. But it still costs money to run an organization like this,
Absolutely.
a nonprofit.
Especially a large counseling center like this. Our goal is to provide, X number of counseling hours a year. In 2010, we provided about almost 5,000 counseling hours. 45% of that was clinical revenue through insurance and things of that nature. 35% was grants. About 6% was individual donations from churches, individuals in the community. So it's broken up how our funding comes in. My role is to do the grant writing and the funding on that end. So.
And the big fundraiser is coming up real soon, and that's the Families of the Year in the areas where you recognize Big Spring, Odessa, Midland.
And this year, Andrews.
We've
included Andrews this year, so that's exciting, new and exciting for us. So,
well, before you go any further, we're going to have to take a break, but I want us to explore this more and we also need to talk about the board that runs the thing and all of your wonderful staff. So we'll be back in just a moment and continue this conversation.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.